Hello, I'm going to be making a quilted jacket. Again, a lot of you might know me from this one that I made last year. One of the most viewed videos. Go check that out if you want. It's like the second thing I've ever sewn. So there's a lot of mistakes and I'm going to be showing you in this video like how to make it better and actually how to make it, because this one was just me like trying to figure things out, and now I kind of know what's happening because it's been almost a year since I've started sewing. So this new jacket will have a lining, there won't be all these frayed edges, and just the things wrong with it aren't going to be wrong with it, hopefully. Here is some of the pattern pieces that you're going to need. It's just a really rough sketch, but you are able to customize it to your own body. For this back piece right there, dang it, all my dried flowers and random photographs from the 1900s fell out of my notebook. For that back panel, you are just going to want to measure how far you want it. You can measure a jacket you already have. I'm not gonna do that just because I just don't feel like it. I want it to be a little oversized, so here to like, see that's 25 inches, and it's gonna be like right here is where the seam is, if that makes sense. You cannot see, but you just want to measure as far down as you want to go. Make sure you add a little bit of seam allowance, so add some extra inches. Oh, perfect. Mine's at 25, so mine's gonna be a square basically. I want to shape the neck a little bit. For the back panel, I think I'm just gonna go down an extra inch. Like this little indent right there, it's just gonna be like 1 inch down, and I'm just gonna make a little curve. Now for the front, I want mine to totally add up to 25 inches, so 25 divided by 2, 12.5. So for the bottom, it's gonna be 12.5, and then for my little this part, about 10 inches, and that's the same on the back. I skipped that part, but so this is also going to be 10 inches on each side, which means that on the inside this is going to be like 5 inches. So that is the front and back panel. I hope this is making sense. This is just kind of how I draft patterns, I guess. For the sleeves, around my wrist, I don't want it to be like super duper big, but I don't want it to be tight either, so I'm just probably gonna say I want it to be like 10 inches. And for around here, I also don't want it to be that big. I'm gonna kind of just like measure the sleeve I'm already wearing, and it's gonna be from like right here. We're gonna say 25 because that's, yeah. And then measure from here down to how far you want it to be. We're gonna say 17, and because I'm gonna also add a cuff. We'll do 18 to add in some extra. So I'm gonna make the cuff the same as this, so it's gonna be 10 inches, and I'm gonna be folding the cuff in half, so I want it to make it double the length it's gonna be, plus like an extra inch of seam allowance. So if I want the cuff to be 3 inches, I have to cut it 6 inches, but then give it an extra inch, so 7 inches. That's all of the pieces except for the collar. Honestly, when I make my patterns, I usually kind of just like wing it, and I just cut out based on what I already have. So doing this all up front, a little different. For the collar, basically we just have to make sure it's the same as the circumference of the neck that we're gonna have. So I'm actually gonna wait to do that until after I get it all together, just so that I know for sure. I don't want to like cut out something wrong, but I'll let you know what it is once I get to that point, so that you can cut them all out at the same time if you want to follow my exact measurements. But that's kind of how you do it. The collar though, you're just gonna be cutting like a hexagon. Wait, not a hexagon and not a pentagon. Like the one where it's like this and then it goes like out like a crown, like that basically. What is that called? But it's not the one that's tilted. I don't know. I'm gonna sound really stupid when I replay this, but you legit can't see me, but I literally meant to say trapezoid. You're just gonna cut out that shape, but you have to make sure that the smaller, so the bottom, is the same as the circumference of here, and then you want it to go out an extra few inches so that it, when it folds over, it's like a nice collar shape. But I will let you know when I get to that point. And my jacket is going to be made out of, let me grab the fabric. Okay, so the shell, or like the actual quilted part of my jacket, is going to be this lovely green It's not really quilted, but it gives the same vibe. It's whatever, I don't know what's going on here. But I got this from the thrift store, and this as well is from the thrift store, and it's just like fabric of frogs. So this is gonna be the inside lining. When you cut out all of these pieces, you just want to make sure you're cutting out double of each. So you're gonna want 2 back panels, 2 of each of the front panels, 2 of each of each of your fabrics, because we're gonna basically make 2 different jackets and sew them together so that it's reversible. Not that I don't think I will be wearing the frog one facing out, but it's a way to just like cover up all the seams without having to do like sergers or anything. So yeah, that's the pattern, I guess. But yeah, you can like self-draft that with your own measurements. You kind of just want to make sure it fits you. So now let's actually get to cutting the fabric and making the actual jacket. So I sewed the lining minus the collar part, and now I'm going to show you how to do it with this fabric. It's going to be the exact same process for both. I first take the back panel and one of the front panels, and then I sew them right sides together. But I make sure that the part on the front panel that goes down aligns with the collar part on the back panel. So like that. Sew them together on both sides, and then I'm going to have this like straight panel. I'm not going to sew the sides together yet because I want to attach the sleeves. Put the long part of the sleeves right sides together, and then you're going to sew the side of the sleeve down at the same time and go like kind of like this and down to sew the side of the jacket together. But you want to make sure that the center of the sleeve is aligned exactly. The middle is right where the seam is, so that when you fold it, it aligns. So I'll show you more about what that is. But I'm going to sew the pieces together first, and then you'll see. Also, I don't know why my face is so red. I'm low-key dying. It's like so hot. So this is what it looks like when you lay it out flat. Now you have your sleeve. You want to attach it so that it will look like this, basically. So fold it in half. That's the middle. You want it to be pinned exactly on the middle, right where the seam is. And sew. So now we're gonna fold it right at the seam and pin the armpits together. Okay, so now you're going to sew from the sleeve all the way down to the armpit, and the armpit down to the bottom on both sides. So this is the time to make alterations. I'm gonna cut the collar to here before I cut out the actual collar part, just because I want it to be like that. Much better. So right here I am measuring the circumference of the collar, and mine ended up being 23 inches. So that means that the short part of the collar is going to be 23 inches. Okay, so for the collar, my short part ended up being 23 inches. My long part, I think, was about 27 inches, and it ended up being about 4 inches tall. And you're going to sew the collar on to the fabric that doesn't match. So this is my lining fabric, and it's attached to the quilted fabric. And my quilted collar is attached to my lining. That's because when you sew it together, it's going to fold in a way where this is going to show. And you'll see what I mean once I actually get to that point, but I have to wait until tomorrow because I have to go buy a zipper, and I can't do that today. So I'm gonna go buy a zipper tomorrow, and then I'm gonna show you how to sew both of them together and then add the cuffs, and that will be the end of it. So actually it's gone by pretty quick because this only took me about like 2.5 hours total. So, all right, so now we're at the point where we have the two different jackets, the lining and the actual jacket, or if you're making it reversible, just both the jackets. What we're gonna do is turn these both inside out because you want them to be sewn on right sides together. This is where you're gonna get out your pins so you can start pinning your jacket. Okay, so now for this part, I feel like there is definitely better ways to do this, but take your zipper, mine I think is 18 inches, because you just want to measure after you do the like, not decrease, that's crochet. Yeah, after the collar part, you want to measure from like here down to the bottom, and then make sure it's not as big because you're gonna be sewing the bottom hem-ish, so mine's 18 inches. You're gonna want the zipper part to be inside of the jacket so that when you're sewing on top, right sides together, this is inside the jacket and you're sewing like that, so that when you unfold it, the zipper is on the outside. Does that make sense? Ouch, I just pinned myself. Anyway, I'm gonna put these pins away. I just dropped them all, so it took me a good few minutes to clean them all up. Okay, so I have all of the right sides together pinned around the entire jacket except for the sleeves, because we're just gonna add the cuffs to close that up. Mine didn't align exactly, which it should, so I don't know what I did wrong there, but it shouldn't. I did cut out extra seam allowance for my thicker fabric just because I was worried, but I think I cut out a little too much extra, so it's a little off. For the zipper, you just want to make sure that, again, the bottom of it is at the bottom and that the zipper is pancaked inside. You want the side that's gonna show to be on the side that you want to show. Basically, if I sewed that and I unfolded or like put it inside out or right side out, I guess, then this is now pinned where I want it to be, where it shows like that. You just don't want it to be in like backwards, so you want to make sure it's on the right side of the jacket, you know? So I would make sure that's right before you start sewing. But now I'm just gonna sew all the way around and then turn it inside out. Leave a little space so you can turn it inside out, and then I'll show you what it's looking like. Okay, I have it all sewed. I'm gonna try to turn it inside out with this little opening. I might have to seam rip a little bit because it's probably not gonna be big enough. And is Mistress Moozin'? Sleeps in Esty's bed and everything. No, there ain't no doubt. Somebody's gotta catch him now, because I think this is what it looks like with the top stitch. And now I just need to cut out the cuffs. So I'm gonna cut out 10 inches and I think, did I say 6 inches wide? I'll have to look back at that book. But 10 inches and then however wide I said. And then I'm gonna fold it over once on each side so that it's hemmed. You know, do a hem on each side, sew it together, and then I'm gonna fold it over the end of this and sew it on, if that makes any sense at all. Okay, so I have both the cuffs. This is what it looks like after it's hemmed, and this is when it's folded. So basically what I'm gonna do is put the folded part and kind of get the sleeves, both of them, in between these two folds, and then just top sew on top of this like seam so that it's hidden. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. Put this inside like that, and then fold over. Okay, so then the cuff is gonna look like that, and you're just gonna sew on top of this seam, and it hides all of the edges. Again, my jacket is not perfect and I don't think I would ever wear it this way. But But if you did it perfectly, you could. But I definitely didn't have the cuffs very even, so the line is in a very weird spot. But it works. And I have no idea what's up with my face and why is it so red, because I'm not sick, I don't think. Anyway, this is one of the best constructed things that I have ever made. I do quite like it. There is no frayed edges or like seams that aren't finished because there's a lining. And the lining is literally frogs, so you couldn't ask for anything more. And yeah, green's my favorite color in the world, so yes, super exciting. I'm legit gonna wear this to school tomorrow. I'm actually obsessed. Here is legit footage of me before I go to school the next day. Anyway, if you made it this far, consider subscribing. I don't know. Just help me out a little bit. Okay, anyway, that's it. Bye.